Adrien Broner was supposed to be the next Floyd Mayweather. Flashy, fast, undefeated. The world of boxing opened its arms to him as the heir to the throne. He had the talent, the charisma, and the backing of legends. But now, he's broke, suspended, and struggling to stay out of jail. From driving luxury cars and buying massive homes to begging for cash on Instagram, Adrien Broner's life has turned into a slow-motion train wreck. This isn't just about bad decisions. It's about a man who had it all and lost it all. The women, the fame, the family, the career, all slipping through his fingers. In this video, we'll go deep into how Adrien Broner's life is unraveling and why it might already be too late to save what's left. By the time Broner was 13, local trainers were calling him a future world champ. He was fast, elusive, with a shoulder roll defense that mimicked Floyd Mayweather's, but flashier. He had that intangible aura that coaches could feel before the bell even rang. Over the course of his amateur career, he racked up more than 300 fights, boasting a jaw-dropping 319-19 record. Those numbers weren't just stats. They were his ticket out of the streets. He turned pro in 2008 at the age of 18. In just his second fight, he knocked his opponent out in 20 seconds. Commentators took notice. Promoters took notice. Floyd Mayweather himself, the undefeated king, took notice. And just like that, Broner became the golden child of American boxing. He wasn't just winning, he was dominating. He'd smile mid-fight, taunt his opponents, and then unleash flurries so fast they blurred on camera. His power was real, his defense was slick, and his confidence unmatched. HBO and Showtime began circling. The media called him the next Floyd, and that label would stick like glue. Broner won his first world title in 2011, capturing the WBO super featherweight belt. Then he moved up in weight and won again and again. Within a few short years, he was a four-division world champion, still in his 20s. His career trajectory wasn't just upward, it was explosive. Fans flocked to him, networks paid big, and Floyd Mayweather even took him under his wing. They partied together, they trained together, the prodigy and the king side by side. But something was already wrong. You could feel it under the surface. Broner wasn't just fighting in the ring, he was battling the pressure of expectation. He was trying to live up to a myth before he had the maturity to understand what it meant. And worse, he was falling in love with the lifestyle faster than he was building the discipline to sustain it. The world saw Adrien Broner's rise. What they didn't see, or didn't want to admit, was the darkness already forming in his shadow. With fame came fortune, and with fortune came the unraveling. By 2013, Adrien Broner was undefeated, rich, and obsessed with showing the world just how much he had. He wasn't content with being known as a talented fighter, he wanted to be iconic. And so, the persona of AB was born, about billion, a flashy, arrogant, unfiltered character who lived like a rapper, talked like a king, and fought like he was untouchable. Broner walked to the ring with rappers like Lil Wayne at his side. He wore diamond-studded grills, posted stacks of money on Instagram, and made headlines for tossing cash in Walmart like it was confetti. His press conferences were filled with insults, dances, and off-the-cuff remarks that made the media lose their minds. Some loved it, others hated it, but everyone watched. He famously said, "I'm not here to be like Floyd. I'm here to be better than Floyd." And that became his downfall. Because unlike Mayweather, who meticulously studied opponents, avoided damage, and built an empire through discipline, Broner started believing he didn't need to train hard. He thought his talent would carry him forever. Behind the scenes, his personal life was unraveling just as fast. He surrounded himself with enablers, party promoters, yes men, and opportunists who only fueled the illusion that he was invincible. There were nights he wouldn't sleep, showing up to the gym late, or not at all. His trainer, Mike Stafford, was often forced to chase him down before fights. He would balloon in weight between bouts, then try to drop it all in unhealthy crash diets just days before weigh-ins. But Broner didn't see the warning warning sign. Or maybe he did, but chose to ignore them. He'd gone from a hungry kid in Cincinnati to a millionaire in mansions, surrounded by groupies and flashing Lamborghinis. And he was still undefeated. So who could tell him he was wrong? The truth is, Adrien Broner wasn't just building a brand. He was building a fantasy, one where the rules didn't apply to him, where the grind was optional, where losses couldn't happen. But the ring doesn't care about fantasy. The ring doesn't lie. And reality was waiting to punch him in the face. December 14th, 2013. That's the date that changed everything. Broner stepped into the ring against Argentine slugger Marcos Maidana, a tough, heavy-handed fighter with zero interest in playing along with Broner's theatrics. The fight wasn't supposed to be competitive. It was supposed to be a coronation. Instead, it was a public dismantling. Maidana dropped Broner in the second round, then again in the eighth. Adrien had never been knocked down before. He looked stunned, disoriented, not just physically, but emotionally. His mask of confidence shattered. The man who danced through weigh-ins and flossed money on stage was now clinging to the ropes. The crowd erupted, not in horror, but in laughter, and the memes began immediately. Broner didn't just lose that night. He lost his aura. He left the ring in tears, ran out of the arena without speaking. That moment, viral, humiliating, and unstoppable, was the first major crack in the myth of Adrien Broner. After that, his world started collapsing at an accelerating pace. His legal troubles exploded. He was arrested multiple times. Assault charges, DUI, robbery accusations. Videos of him fighting in malls and strip clubs went viral. His partying intensified. His weight ballooned between fights. He started missing press events, showing up late to training, and giving bizarre interviews filled with contradictions and erratic behavior. Even his relationships began to sour. His team was growing frustrated. Mayweather, who once called him Little Bro, began distancing himself. Fans who once defended his antics now criticized him. The media shifted the narrative from future legend to wasted potential. And Broner, he acted like nothing was wrong. He leaned further into the chaos. He once said in an interview, "They hate on me because I'm rich, young, and flashy." But the truth was simpler. People didn't hate him. They were watching him crash and couldn't look away. By 2016, Adrien Broner wasn't just losing fights. He was losing control of his entire life. His problems with the law were no longer tabloid fodder. They were real, documented, and stacking higher every year. One by one, his courtroom appearances began to overshadow his pay-per-view fights. And it didn't take long before the nickname AB stopped meaning about billions and started standing for always behind. Bars, that is. In 2016, he was arrested and charged with felony assault and aggravated robbery after an alleged altercation at a bowling alley. The victim claimed Broner beat him up over a gambling debt, then robbed him at gunpoint. Broner denied the charges, but the image damage was undeniable. His mugshot spread across the internet, his face visibly swollen and deflated of the arrogance fans once knew him for. Then came the DUI arrest, then another and another. In some court appearances, Broner barely spoke. In others, he appeared erratic, smiling one moment, frustrated the next, and often contradicting himself. The most disturbing moment came in 2020, when Broner appeared in court claiming he was broke and couldn't pay a court-ordered settlement. The judge asked how he had been posting videos with stacks of cash on Instagram. Broner responded, "I have rich friends." The judge, unimpressed, ordered him to jail for contempt of court. This wasn't just a fall from grace. It was a public unraveling. Adrien Broner wasn't just being punished for his actions. He was showcasing the breakdown in real time through social media and viral clips. The persona that once entertained millions was now being used as evidence against him. He couldn't fake it anymore. The system didn't care about his celebrity status. And the fans who once cheered for his rebellious attitude now watched in quiet disbelief. Even when he wasn't in court, Broner's behavior became more self-destructive. He posted disturbing videos on Instagram, himself crying, drinking heavily, making incoherent rants about suicide, and claiming everyone had turned against him. There were moments where he begged for help, only to laugh it off hours later. His handlers tried to intervene. Some begged him to get real mental health treatment, but every attempt ended the same way, with Broner pushing everyone away and diving back into chaos. In a haunting reflection, one boxing analyst said, "He's not the same kid who danced in the ring anymore. He's hurting, and no one around him has the guts to pull the plug." The scariest part? Adrien Broner didn't hit rock bottom yet, not even close. In the world of boxing, second chances are rare, but Adrien Broner had more than his fair share. Even after the Maidana loss, even after his courtroom dramas, promoters and networks still wanted a piece of him. He had name value, he had controversy, and for a while, that was enough. But it wasn't long before even the most loyal investors started asking the same question. Was he worth the risk anymore? Broner headlined several major events after his first fall, including a massive bout with Mikey Garcia in 2017. It was billed as his comeback, a test to prove he could still hang with the best. But Broner didn't train properly. He came into the fight sluggish, uninspired. Garcia picked him apart round after round. Broner lost in a unanimous decision, but the bigger loss was spiritual. He wasn't fighting like the hungry kid from Cincinnati anymore. He was just showing up, and fans noticed. So did promoters. So did trainers. Showtime and Premier boxing champions began scaling back on his hype. The next Mayweather was now a glorified gatekeeper. When he faced Manny Pacquiao in 2019, Broner talked as if he was still elite, promising to beat the old man into retirement. But inside the ring, he threw barely any punch, danced around, and lost convincingly. Afterward, in a post-fight interview that became infamous, Broner declared, "I beat him." The crowd laughed. Even the commentators paused, stunned. It wasn't just delusion, it was denial. Soon after, Broner's fights started getting cancelled altogether. He missed weigh-ins. He claimed mental health issues, then reappeared in clubs days later. He signed a comeback deal with BLK Prime in 2023, a 3-fight contract, but only managed to fight once. His opponent was low-tier, and Broner barely scraped by with a decision win. The other 2 fights never materialized. The buzz was gone. The mystique was dead. But perhaps the worst part of all was the legacy left behind. Broner had once inspired kids across the country. He had raw, unteachable talent. 4 world titles in 4 divisions, a rare feat, yet he never unified a belt. He never beat a top 5 fighter in his prime. And he never lived up to his own mythology. His resume became a list of what could have been, not what was. Today, the elite won't call him. The young prospects don't idolize him. He's still fighting, but nobody's really watching. Beneath the layers of bravado, behind the gold chains and viral rants, lies the most heartbreaking truth of Adrien Broner's story. He's lonely, isolated, and emotionally unraveling in full view of the public. Over the past few years, Adrien has posted numerous videos and live streams where he's visibly intoxicated, crying, or openly discussing his depression. He's admitted to feeling like a failure, to being abandoned by the very people who once called him family. He's spoken of suicidal thoughts, and whether it's a cry for help or a moment of real vulnerability, it's clear that the pain is no longer just physical. It's psychological, and it runs deep. He once posted, "I don't got nobody, not even my day ones. When you broke, they ghost." It was a raw, unfiltered statement that echoed louder than any post-fight quote ever had. This was no longer a showman speaking. This was a man drowning. The friends who once surrounded him, the entourages, the party crews, the hype men, are mostly gone. Even Floyd Mayweather, once his closest ally, has stepped back. The relationship soured long ago. And Adrien, despite years of trying to get back into Floyd's good graces, remains cut off. That silence, for a man who once idolized Floyd, is deafening. Mentally, Broner seems stuck in a loop. He posts one day about redemption, training hard, staying focused. Then the next day, he's out partying, fighting fans online, or breaking down emotionally on camera. It's the behavior of someone crying out, not for fame, but for stability, for peace, maybe even forgiveness. There are rumors of behind-the-scenes interventions, promoters trying to get him help, trainers calling in therapists, even family members urging him to step away from the sport and seek serious treatment. But Adrien resists. Whether it's pride, fear, or the trauma of growing up with nothing, he He continues to fight battles that can't be won with fists. In one of his more sobering live streams, he stared into the camera and said, "I don't even know who I am anymore." That line, as sad as it was, might have been the most honest thing he's ever said. Despite all the chaos in Adrien Broner's life, one thing has remained consistent. He is a father. Broner reportedly has at least 7 children, possibly more, by multiple women. In his earlier years, he proudly showcased them on social media, calling them the reason I grind. There were birthday shout-outs, family videos, even expensive gifts. He appeared to take pride in being a provider, not just financially, but emotionally too. But as the years went on and his career began spiraling, that image of a loving, present father began to fracture. Multiple women who share children with Broner have publicly criticized him for being absent or inconsistent. One woman claimed he hadn't seen his child in months and only posted about the kids for likes. Another went further, stating he owed back child support and had failed to live up to even court-mandated visitation requirements. In 2020, during one of his more emotionally erratic live streams, Broner spoke about his kids, saying, "I love them, man, but it's hard. I'm trying to fix myself before I can be a good father." That line hit fans hard, a moment of self-awareness in an otherwise loud, chaotic persona. It was clear he knew he was failing, and he hated himself for it. What made the situation more tragic is that some of his kids are old enough to see the headlines, the arrests, the videos, the mockery, the court footage of their dad crying in front of a judge. And unlike strangers online, those kids will carry that legacy forever. Not the belts, but the breakdown. Broner has admitted he doesn't want them to follow in his footsteps, not in the ring, and definitely not in life. But how do you set an example when your own footing is lost? The heartbreaking reality is that the same children he once said were his motivation now represent the part of his life he can't afford to mess up anymore. And every mistake he makes lands on their shoulders too. Adrien Broner didn't just earn millions, he flaunted them. At his peak, he was estimated to have earned over $10 million in fight purses and endorsement. That money was poured into a lifestyle few could keep up with. He owned multiple luxury homes, including a mansion in Atlanta with marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and a garage packed with high-end sports cars. Broner drove Rolls-Royces, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, each customized and wrapped in bold colors. One was neon green, another had his name airbrushed along the side. He wore diamond-encrusted watches, designer brands from head to toe, and was rarely seen without at least one chain swinging from his neck. He treated the boxing world like a rap video, and for a while, it worked. It sold fights, it sold tickets, and it sold a fantasy. But the illusion didn't last. As his fight schedule slowed down and lawsuits started piling up, Broner's financial empire began to crumble. He admitted in court that he was broke, said he had just $13 in his bank account. When asked how he was still posting videos with cash, he replied, "I have rich friends." The judge didn't buy it, and neither did the public. Reports soon followed of unpaid taxes, cars being repossessed, eviction notices. One property he owned was said to have gone into foreclosure, and even when he showed up to training camps, insiders claimed he often relied on handouts, borrowed cars, rented clothes, borrowed gym time. He once posted a photo holding stacks of money with the caption, "This ain't even half," but insiders later revealed that much of it was prop money. Broner had become trapped by the character he created, a man who had to look rich even when the checks had stopped coming in. By 2023, his net worth was estimated at around $100,000, a staggering drop for someone who had once earned millions. But even that number was likely inflated, given his mounting legal fees and settlements. It's not that Broner never made money, it's that he never believed it could run out. And when it did, he was left with empty garages, unpaid debts, and a reputation built on sand. Today, Adrien Broner is 35 years old, still young by most standards, but in boxing years, he's ancient. The reflexes aren't what they used to be. The punches don't land with the same pop, and most importantly, the phone doesn't ring like it used to. He's now considered a high-risk, low-reward fighter, too erratic for promoters, too controversial for sponsors, and too inconsistent to trust on a fight card. His last few comeback attempts have fizzled, dates pushed back, opponents pulling out, promoters backing away. He still trains, still posts videos in the the gym, still claims a big return is coming. But most fans don't believe it anymore. They've heard it all before. Broner's relationship with the media is now strained. He rarely gives interviews, and when he does, they're filled with contradictions, vague threats, and promises of one more big payday. He still believes he can return to form. But the boxing world, brutal and fast-moving, has already moved on. There are no documentaries being made, no Hall of Fame induction talks, just silence. A man once compared to Mayweather now lives in the shadows of TikTok fighters and influencer bouts. And even those promoters won't touch him, not because of his skills, but because of his baggage. He once said, "I just want peace. I want to chill with my kids and know I did something great." And maybe he did. Maybe 4 division titles still count for something. Maybe somewhere deep inside, there's still pride. But greatness isn't just about wins. It's about legacy. And Broner's legacy is now a cautionary tale. A reminder of how fast it can all disappear. How one bad decision, then 2, then 10, can turn a champion into a ghost. As of now, Adrien Broner lives in near obscurity. He's not celebrated. He's not revered. He's not even hated. He's just forgotten. And for a man who once craved the spotlight like oxygen, that might be the cruelest knockout of all.